50 players in 3 years. That's not a typo. Since Todd Boehly took over Chelsea Football Club in 2022, the club has been on a transfer spree that has stunned the football world. Joel Hato and Xavi Simons are reportedly on their way to Stamford Bridge, potentially becoming the 49th and 50th signings of this new era. To put that in perspective, that's nearly 5 full starting 11s worth of players. It's a level of spending and acquisition that raises eyebrows, sparks rival outrage, and gets fans around the world asking one question: how is this even possible? How does a club buy so many players in such a short time and yet avoid any major punishment from financial fair play regulators? In this video, we dig deep into the truth, the real strategy behind Chelsea's wild spending. Because it's not just chaos, it's calculated, it's creative, and it's controversial. If there's one thing Chelsea has always excelled at, beyond lifting trophies and hiring new managers, it's producing top-tier academy talent. And under Todd Boehly, that pipeline hasn't just fueled the first team. It's become a cash cow. One of the biggest reasons Chelsea can keep spending aggressively is the sheer amount of money they've generated from selling academy products. And because these players cost the club almost nothing to develop, their sale becomes pure profit in FFP terms. Let's break it down. Mason Mount to Manchester United, £55 million. Fikayo Tomori to AC Milan, £25 million. Tammy Abraham to Roma, £34 million. Lewis Hall to Newcastle, £28 million. Tino Livramento to Southampton, £5 million. Plus 20% sell-on fee when he moved to Newcastle for over £30 million. Callum Hudson-Odoi, £5 million. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, £15 million. Omari Hutchinson, £25 million. That's over £170 million from players developed at Cobham, many of whom weren't even regular starters when sold. But there's a cost. To make room for big money signings, Chelsea's had to let go of players who might have developed into superstars. Musiala is now a generational talent for Bayern Munich. Livramento is thriving. Tomori became a Serie A champion. Mount, before injuries, was a fan favorite and a Champions League winner. This model brings in revenue, but often at the expense of long-term identity. Chelsea has become a club where youth development is as much about economic return as it is about footballing growth. Still, from a financial standpoint, this strategy is gold. It keeps them within spending rules and makes room for high-profile purchases, even if it means letting go of tomorrow's legends. While many clubs struggle to offload unwanted players, Chelsea, under Todd Boehly, have become a master of flipping assets, especially to Saudi Arabia and Premier League rivals. In their second summer window, Chelsea offloaded a wave of high-wage players, many of whom had only recently arrived. The result? Over £250 million generated, millions shaved off the wage bill. Here's a breakdown of key exits. Koulibaly to Al Hilal, £20 million, wages, £295,000 per week. Mendy to Al Ahly, £16 million, wages, £100,000 per week. Ziyech to Galatasaray, £8 million, wages, £100,000 per week. Aubameyang to Marseille on a free, £160,000 per week. Kai Havertz to Arsenal, £65 million, £280,000 per week. Mount, again, £55 million, £90,000 per week. Timo Werner, £25 million, £270,000 per week. Kante, left for free, was on £290,000 per week. Pulisic to Milan, £20 million, £150,000 per week. Loftus-Cheek, also to Milan, £15 million. Kepa Arrizabalaga to Arsenal, £5 million, £150,000 per week. Petrovic to Bournemouth, £25 million, £80,000 per week. Maduk to Arsenal, £48.5 million plus add-ons, £50,000 per week. Total income, £250 million plus. Wage savings, over £1 million per week. Boehly's regime figured out early. Selling players isn't just about fees. It's about clearing space and cleaning books. Many of the players above were fringe squad members or flops, but by selling them smartly and sometimes opportunistically to Saudi clubs with cash, Chelsea avoided the stagnation that plagued their rivals. The trick? Moving fast, pricing fairly, and tapping into new markets, where Manchester United and others struggle to shift players on bloated contracts. Chelsea has become football's most ruthless seller, and it's helped fuel their spending spree without crashing into FFP violations. Now we come to one of the most clever and controversial tactics, amortization. In simple terms, it allows clubs to spread the cost of a transfer over a player's contract length. Sign a player for £80 million on a 4-year deal. Only £20 million hits the books each season, but Chelsea pushed it further. Under Boehly, the club started handing out contracts up to 8 or 9 years long. Mudryk, 8.5 years. Enzo Fernandez, 8.5 years. Malo Gusto, Badiashile Maduk, long deals too. By spreading transfer fees over such long periods, Chelsea drastically reduces the yearly accounting hit, giving the club more flexibility under financial fair play rules. UEFA eventually reacted to this loophole by capping amortization at 5 years. But Chelsea had already taken full advantage of the gap. What's more, Chelsea adds another layer of control by focusing on players with relatively low wages. While many clubs inflate their wage bill with established stars, Chelsea's strategy has been to sign younger talents who are less demanding in salary negotiations. For instance, Mudryk, despite his massive fee, reportedly earns around £97,000 per week. Enzo Fernandez earns around £180,000 per week. Keeping wages low helps Chelsea avoid breaching the Premier League's wage-to-turnover ratio guidelines, which are just as crucial as FFP limits. It also gives them room to sign more players without running into salary cap issues. Critics argue this long contract approach is risky. If a player underperforms or fails to adapt, the club could be stuck with them for nearly a decade. But Chelsea's leadership seems willing to take that gamble in exchange for financial flexibility. So, in short, long deals reduce annual financial impact, and lower wages ensure compliance with payroll regulations. Together, they form the spine of Chelsea's modern transfer strategy, helping them build a new squad while dodging the traps that catch other big spenders. While player sales and clever accounting get the headlines, another key reason Chelsea can afford to spend big is simple. They win. In the past few years, Chelsea have lifted some of the biggest trophies in club football, and every win comes with a massive financial reward. Let's take a quick look at what they've won and what those wins earned them. UEFA Champions League 2021 cash prize, €82.45 million. UEFA Super Cup 2021 cash prize, €5 million. FIFA Club World Cup 2022 cash prize, $5 million / approximate £3.9 million. That's over £90 million in prize money from just 3 competitions. And that doesn't even include broadcast revenue, ticket sales, merchandise, and sponsorship bonuses linked to these trophies. Success in Europe brings global attention, commercial growth, and increased marketability. It's why clubs like Real Madrid and Bayern can spend so consistently, because they perform. Chelsea's ability to lift silverware, even during turbulent managerial periods, has kept them in UEFA's high payout circles. That money directly supports reinvestment in the squad. Even a deep Champions League run, like reaching the semifinals, can net over €100 million once TV pool and coefficient bonuses are factored in. So while winning trophies isn't a hack like amortization, it's still a massive funding source. And Chelsea has capitalized on it every step of the way. Now we reach the most controversial and creative part of Chelsea's financial playbook, FFP loopholes. While UEFA and the Premier League have rules meant to limit overspending, there are still ways around them, and Chelsea has been aggressive in finding those paths. The most eye-opening example? The sale of 2 hotels to a sister company. In June 2023, Chelsea reportedly sold the Millennium and Copthorne hotels at Stamford Bridge to another company within the Blueco ownership group. The reported valuation? £76.3 million. Why is this significant? Because under FFP rules, any profit from commercial activities or asset sales can count as revenue as long as it's deemed a fair market value. That means Chelsea could record nearly £80 million of pure income in their books just from that internal deal. Critics argue that this move is essentially financial engineering, shifting money from one pocket to another within the same ownership circle. But unless UEFA or the Premier League proves the valuation was inflated or the transaction was artificial, it's legal. And Chelsea aren't the only ones doing this. Manchester City and PSG have previously faced scrutiny for similar sponsor inflation tactics, where deals with friendly companies are used to boost revenue. But Chelsea's hotel deal stands out because it's not sponsorship. It's a hard asset, and that gives the transaction a level of legitimacy that's harder to challenge. Combine that with all the other tactics: player sales, amortization, low wages, and prize money, and you see the full picture. Chelsea aren't just spending wildly. They're playing the financial game smarter than almost anyone. And until the rules change again, they'll keep finding ways to win, both on and off the pitch. So the next time you see Chelsea drop £100 million on a teenager from Brazil or a Dutch wonder kid, remember, it's not magic, it's math. From selling academy stars, to clearing their wage bill, to locking in low salaries, and stretching contracts, Chelsea under Boehly is a case study in modern football economics. It may not be pretty, it may not be popular, but it's working. This is football truth. And now you know exactly why Chelsea can still spend so much money.